Number 47 says solve cosine of 2x equals 1/2, and the restrictions are from 0 to 2 pi. How I would start this problem is I would completely ignore the 2 right here, and I would solve cosine of x equals 1/2. Now this is just basically knowing your unit circle. So when you look at the unit circle, you see that you would know that cosine equals 1/2 at pi over 3, but it also equals 1/2 at 10 pi over 6, which equals 5 pi over 3. Now what you do from here is you take these two answers, and since the period of cosine is 2 pi, you add 2k pi to that, and also to 5 pi over 3. Now what you're doing is, since it's cosine of 2x instead of just cosine of x, you need to multiply both of these equations by 1/2. So when you do that, you end up with pi over 6 plus k pi, and for this one, you're multiplying that by 1/2. You end up with 5 pi over 6 plus k pi. Now what you do from here is you have to plug in values starting with 0 in order to find the answer. So we start with k equals 0, and when you plug 0 into k right here, you just end up with pi over 6. So that's one of your answers. Then you do k equals 1, and what I like to do for these problems is I like to make a common denominator for these equations. So it would be pi over 6 plus 6k pi over 6. So when you plug 1 in, you get 6 pi plus 1 pi, which is 7 pi over 6. Now you plug in 2, and when you do that, you get 12 pi over 6 over here, plus 1 pi, which is 13 pi over 6. Now this is where you would stop, because we're restricted to 0 to 2 pi, and 13 pi over 6 is greater than 2 pi. So we'll cross this one out because it's too big. That's not one of the answers. So far our two answers are pi over 6 and 7 pi over 6. Now we move over to this equation, and we have to plug in values the same way we did for this equation. So we start off with 0. Well, first, let's make this have a common denominator. So we have 5 pi over 6 plus 6k pi over 6. So now we'll plug in the values. K equals 0. You get 5 pi over 6. K equals 1. You would get 6 pi over 6 here plus 5 pi over 6, which is 11 pi over 6. 11 pi over 6. Now we'll plug in k equals 2. And for that one, you would get 12 pi over 6 plus 5 pi over 6, which is 17 pi over 6. And this one, just like this one, is too big. This is greater than 2 pi, therefore this is not one of the answers. So we'll cross that one out because it's too big. And that leaves us with our 4 final answers, which are pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6. So you would write your final answer. Just copy down all of the answers that you have, write them in order, and we'll put those like that, and that's your final answer.